13 49ers are injured, and they haven't even gotten to their second preseason game. Real quick, I'll give the full list just so we know who we're talking about, and then I want to get your take as to, like, it's happening again. This is year 10 in a row. Jimmy Ward, Javarius Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, Eric Armstead, Mike McGlinchey, Daniel Brunskill, Elijah Mitchell, Danny Gray, Jalen Moore, Dante Johnson, Curtis Robinson, Maurice Hurst, Jordan Matthews, 13 49ers. Is this bad luck for the 10th year in a row?
Well, I mean, let's look at the bright spot first. Only two of those guys, Hurst and Matthews, done for the year. The rest of the guys are coming back. Some of them are phantom. I mean, I did see Curtis Robinson stretching that groin out at practice on Sunday, so he obviously heard it in the game Friday night. So the Brunskill one is mysterious to me, but I mean, as far as just the pure number, is it luck? Is it how hard they go in practice? Is it somehow the training staff? I mean, they've changed out so much of what they do, their processes, their people. Yeah, I'm at wit's end to explain it at this point.
Kyle tried to give an explanation. You could call it an excuse this morning and said, look, it's just a weird schedule this year because of the 3 preseason games so close together. There's a lot of 2 days off, 3 days off. And every time we come back from an extended layoff, someone gets hurt. Sort of like he's trying to say it's out of my hands. Well, I feel like every team has the same situation. And your job as a head coach is to be on top of these mundane details. I know Kyle's a great offensive coordinator. He's great with the details of X's and O's, but the head coach is in charge of scheduling and sort of making sure that whatever practice plan you put together is not going to lead to a bunch of hamstring injuries, which is what happened the last week. And he's saying it's not his fault. This is the stuff that people point to when they talk about him and being a head coach. Like, come on, man. Find a training camp routine that works for you.
Well, I will say this, Grant. I mean, I'm always thinking, okay, what's fair? Where can we point the finger? Where is it unfair? The one situation with this is that clearly, the NFL used to go, I mean, once upon a time, 14 regular season games, 6 preseason games. We're years from that. But now we're in a point where
is that right? There was a time. Wow,
14-6. Wow. Isn't that wild? That's wild to me. Wild. But I mean, it just shows how bad businessmen they were back then. Amazing. It was like, what? Yeah. But now we're in this period where this week's a real good example. Kyle values the 2 days practicing in Minnesota more so than the game, so he's holding all kinds of guys out. They held out 20 guys on Friday night. I think the bottom line is they don't want the preseason anymore, and it's like, I don't know what to make of it. All I do know is that there's 3 games tightly grouped, which is never good for a football player. But then there's an enormous amount of time between opening day. So I would say 95% of those injuries that you listed, I don't want to say it's a non-factor, but when you look at the number of days off between preseason game number 3 and week 1, I got to believe that almost all of those guys find a way to get healthy.
Yeah, but
in that window.
Fair enough. I'm not trying to be like the sky is falling, but to your point, back in the day, 6 preseason games, many more opportunities to get injured. Theoretically, with fewer preseason games and coaches saying, I don't even want my starters to play in most of them. I mean, most of the starters didn't even play in this game. There should be fewer injuries. Instead, there's all these little soft tissue injuries that are happening in practice and stuff. And a certain amount of them are unavoidable, but it feels like the Niners are always at the top end of the league, they gotta find some kind of solution. Kyle, it's your job.
Here's the other thing. It's like they used to go double days with pads all the time. Now they go pads irregularly and they never go more than 1 practice in a day. So maybe the difference between their regular camp routine and what they actually go through in a game situation is so dramatically different that there almost are more injuries just because of that, because you're ramping it up and you're not really hitting every day. So now these guys are reacting to the hitting that they are doing because it's full speed hitting.
15, 20 years ago when there were 2-a-days, I'm sure there was a lot of long, grueling practices with lots of hitting. Now you do everything in 90 minutes or less, and there's a lot of sprinting in those 90 minutes. And that's where I think you see these soft tissue injuries. It's not from hitting. It's from stop start after a couple days off, boom, hamstring, groin. Anyway.
Also, maybe it's all, I would say this. If I was Kyle and I was trying to go find an equation that worked, I would start to cheat a little bit more towards the McVay angle of don't play my guys at all, because they just won and they had a really thin roster and they won. So, it's the debate. Would you rather get to week 1 rusty and healthy, or hurt but ready to go? And I'd rather be rusty and healthy. It's a long year.
Rusty and healthy. Here's what I would do. So the Niners I'm not blaming the training staff. Because that's easy to do. But the Niners, Kyle and John, hired these guys from the NHL. The Flyers, the Philadelphia Flyers, I believe. Okay, interesting experiment. Doesn't seem to have worked or really had results. Why don't you just hire someone from the Rams and just do exactly what they do? Is your ego too big to do that? Like, why not? Hire the number 2 trainer from the Rams. Turn it over to him. That's what I would do.
Or is it also about, is it about limiting the hitting in the practices? I don't know what the answer is, but I would start to copy McVay, because the one thing that you do have, I'd rather show up in week 1 with a full contingent of players, especially in a sport where it's hard capped and there's limits to what you can do to replace these players. Yeah. It's like, these are your players, and you're going to be able to replace some, but like on paper, you can see you can't replace them all. So you better really make sure that you take care of their bodies, and that should take precedent probably over installation, rhythm, coordination, cohesion, and all the other things that play into the equation.
And you said most of these guys are coming back. Kyle has been real casual about reporting these injuries until today. Jimmy Ward, I don't know if he's going to be there week 1, and Kyle sounded real sober. Not that he sounds drunk. He just sounded really, serious this morning. It's like, yeah, Jimmy Ward may not play week 1. He missed 1 game last year, and they lost to Colt McCoy at home. This is serious. So
they're also, let's be honest, as the old saying, you're only as weak as your weakest link. Well, the Niners' weakest link, if you want to say so, I mean, in my opinion at least, is that they don't have enough safeties. I mean, their safety depth is not very good.
Yeah, we're going to analyze that position battle in a minute. Take a couple questions. Adrian says RG3 and Cousins 2.0 with Lance and Purdy. Shanahan thinks he's slick. Hey, all I want to say is I like Purdy a lot more after seeing him live than seeing him. Yeah. Yep.
Well, also it rounds out the cheapest quarterback room in the league. Now has essentially a player that is like both. He's cheap like a rookie, but he's had 46 collegiate starts, so he's got experience almost like a veteran. So now you've got, Purdy's going through this for the first time, but he's played a lot of football and analyzed a lot of film. And this guy had the best passer rating in the conference and has huge stats over 46 career starts. So I like the way the quarterback room looks. It's cheap, and I'll stay with my opinion going into the game. I think Purdy beats out Sudfeld. And if it comes down to Lance is out, my guess is that Purdy will be the guy, not Sudfeld.
Yeah, I hope so.
They're paying Sudfeld.
So much better than Sudfeld. Sudfeld is so robotic. He's like, drop back and throw the ball down I'm sacked. Fumble. That's the way I look at him. But he looks good in practice, though. Sean says, the shade you throw often eloquent and humorous when it's deserved, like the Jimmy situation. But kicking Darqueze Dennard while he's cleaning out his locker? Come on, man. Love your show, but do better. What'd I say? I don't know what I say. I appreciate the $20, but if you want to criticize my tone or something, tell me what I said.
I didn't take that out of your tone. I mean, I will say this though. Wow. About Sammy Womack and Darqueze Dennard was the starter at the nickel, and then Womack has that kind of a game, and now Dennard probably was cut loose as a favor to him to help him find another gig.
Good call.
Sooner.
I would agree with that. Hey, Darqueze, you're no longer the starting nickel. Okay, I want to leave. Okay, here you go. Fair enough.